What's up, guys? Welcome to the Really Bad Gaming Show. I am your host, Jacka, and today we're going to be reviewing Resident Evil 8 in a different little style. Mainly, you and I were going to be having a conversation where I'm talking, you're listening. But I'm just going to give you my honest thoughts of the game. I finished this game about 6 days ago. Had it let it simmer in my head, and the more I thought about it, the better it got.
Lycans and gentlemen, we thank you for waiting. And now let the games begin!
There is no safe! Every sorry bastard out there has been ripped in half. Tomorrow we'll all be dead.
No, let me go!
Chris? What the hell? Why?
Ethan Winters.
Ethan Winters. Mr. Winters. Ethan Winters.
Ethan. Poor Ethan.
Ethan Winters. Welcome.
So Resident Evil 8, I haven't played it since I finished it last Saturday. I put 16 hours in. It came out Thursday at 9 p.m. I finished it Saturday like around 4 p.m. I put a lot of time, and that's something I really don't do a lot. There are games that I'm super hyped for, but they just don't grab my attention for me to be able to finish it in those 3 days. I'm going to be honest with you, the last game I did that was Dragon Ball Z Sagas when I was in 6th grade. That and Resident Evil 8 are the only two games that I've been able to beat in the first 3 days of release. And Dragon Ball Z Sagas, we all know that's all crap, but I was a little kid. I was like around 12 or something like that. But Resident Evil 8, man, it is good, but don't get me wrong, it has a lot of problems, especially if you're playing on PC. That is my main gripe with this game. Its PC optimization is not there yet, but it's nothing a patch can't fix. But anyways, let's get into the story. The story is about Ethan Winters. I'm not going to spoil anything major here. This is all in the trailer. Ethan Winters gets his wife murdered and his daughter kidnapped. And now this is his journey on getting his kid back. But turns out that the thing that took his kid is actually a 100-year-old BOW that's trying to revive theirs. Which, it gives you the theme of family. And the theme of family in Resident Evil 8 is really nicely. As you keep playing Resident Evil 8, you will notice that family is the main thing in this game. It's not about killing, it's not about BOWs, it's not about the world ending or an entire city coming to its knees because of a virus. No, it's people just trying to save their family, or in this case, to revive their family. And it's a big twist from Resident Evil. Yeah, I know Claire has been looking for Chris in Resident Evil 2 and all that kind of stuff, but this is a really nice change of pace. Chris is also involved in all this, but hey, you know Chris, he's not a bad guy. There has to be something else. And I'm not going to spoil it for you. You should definitely play this game, but just know that Chris, he's not that bad of a guy. Next, we're going to be talking about the difficulty of the game. I actually titled this entire section, Need a Hand, because Ethan's hands go through fucking hell and back. Ethan, I'm sorry, my dog. Those freaking hands of yours, I'm sorry. What the fuck? Some of those scenes where the hands are just disgusting, and it's great. It's puts a smile on my face. It's just fantastic. But anyways, the game is not the hardest in standard mode. It's actually a little bit easier than most games. I found the standard mode to be easier than Resident Evil 7. Haven't played the Village of Nightmares difficulty, but I did start some hardcore difficulty game, and hardcore is definitely the way to go. It gives the enemies a little bit more health. It gives them more power. They hit way harder, or somewhat harder. I think you can survive 2 or 3 blows from them, and then that's it. Which in the standard mode, you can probably do like around 5. But the game is not the most difficult I've ever played. I would definitely suggest you starting on hardcore, since hardcore mode is unlocked at the beginning of the game. A Village of Nightmare mode, you have to finish the game and then start the Village of Nightmare mode. Or if you decide to pay those extra $20 like a fucking dumbass, you get Village of Nightmares. If I'm going to be honest with you, the most difficult part about the game is the freaking FOB. Getting used to the field of view is one of the hardest things I could have done in this entire game. Holy shit, it's like you're playing through the smallest freaking camera view or whatever it's called. It's bad. It's bad. This game needs an FOB slider because it's just, the view is just so small. When you start the game, make sure you go into settings and turn off that fucking wobble. The wobble is one of the worst things I've experienced in any Resident Evil game. The next section on this review, I titled it, Ethan Can Barely Run, How About the Game? And this is one of the biggest concerns I have about this game that kind of drops it a notch or two. So Resident Evil 8, it runs nicely. I was able to get between 120 to 144 frames per second on this game on very high settings. My specs are not the best. They're middle ground, not top of the line, not the worst. I have a Ryzen 5800 and a RTX 2070 Super with 32 gigs of RAM. So everything runs nicely until you reach Heisenberg's factory. Now, when you reach Heisenberg's factory, there's a lot of moving parts in the background. There's a lot of enemies just being flown out and stuff like that. But then the game, for some reason, starts to stutter very badly. And I haven't reached that part of my second playthrough to know if it was just a one-time thing or not. But from what I noticed, it didn't give me a signal that it was dropping frames, even though I can see that it was dropping frames. It was just lagging and jumping around. The bottom left corner where I have the FPS displayed there wasn't moving from 120 to 144. It was always in that range. And that was not 120 frames per second. So I don't know if that was Steam's layout not working correctly. I was not using the NVIDIA one. I was using Steam's FPS counter. But that was a big problem. And it didn't happen just in one or two occasions. It happens a lot. 15 to 25% of the entire playthrough in that factory was just lagging like that. On ultra settings at 1080p, I never lost a frame. It perfectly maintained it at 144 frames per second. I only played for about 30 minutes in that in those settings. I forgot that I didn't put my glasses on, so all that blue screen now is gonna come and destroy my retinas. Clean these. So, is it scary though? Is Resident Evil 8 scary? And I'm gonna be honest, it's not the scariest game I've ever played, but it also is a scary game. It's not as scary as Resident Evil 7. It's not as scary as Resident Evil 3 with Nemesis chasing you around, or which I consider the scariest Resident Evil game of all time, a Resident Evil 2 remake. It's not as scary as those, but it's still scarier than most of the Resident Evil games out there. Let's be honest here. Resident Evil 1 or the remake, or 0, or 4, 5, 6. Resident Evil 6 was not scary. None of those games were scary at all, but Resident Evil 8 manages to give you a couple jump scares which are cheap, but also actual fright when it comes to the Lincoln or whatever, not Lincoln. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Lincoln. Those werewolf things. Those things, when they get up close to you, they don't look that scary, but the sound that it makes is freaking frightening. Yeah, the game does have a lot of action, but it complements the horror in a very nice way, and it doesn't overtake the entire aspect of the game, making it like a Resident Evil 6 clone or something like that. It actually takes more after Resident Evil 4, which a good name for this game would be Resident Evil 4 Part 2. It's literally the same game. There's scary moments, there's action-packed moments, but there's also a middle ground that is the majority of the game. It's a little scary, a little actiony, and it's good. It's good. It applies both of those elements in a very fair way, and it creates something very, very special. I have a note here that says, the sounds and visuals nail the grotesque look noise that Resident Evil monsters have and makes the game scarier than some of the previous titles. Like I mentioned, the game's audio is fantastic. when it comes to the footsteps, when it comes to the growl of those werewolves, when it comes to all the other enemies, the sound they produce is horrifying. And especially if you're using some really good quality headphones or any type of headphone, actually, it puts you in this environment that any little sound freaks you the fuck out. And that's what happened to me. But there were some moments with real high tension that anything that I heard would make me jump. And that's one of the experiences I want from a horror game. And that's one of the experiences I look forward to in any horror game. And gladly, Resident Evil 8 delivered on that aspect. So in conclusion with this Is It Scary section, do not underestimate Resident Evil 8's chills because it will scare you in specific moments, especially when you look out that window. Trust me. So how am I going to rate this game? I have 3 scores: skip, buy on sale, or full price. This game is definitely a buy at full price. It's one of the best games I played all year. And if it manages to fix the little issues I have with the game, it's going to be my game of the year. And it's actually going to be a contender for the game of the year for most outlets out there. And this game delivered on everything it promised, from its story, from its gameplay, for the horror. It's just a fantastic experience that everybody should experience right now. The ending is a very heartwarming, heart-touching ending, and it's something everybody should watch, not just on YouTube, but in the actual game. If you can't afford the game, I get it, you're gonna wait for a sale, but if you have that extra money to buy a game and you want a game for your new PS5, for your new Xbox, for your brand new shiny PC, this is definitely a game you must pick up. It just runs nicely for the majority of the time, and it runs nicely on the consoles, so it's a definitely buy at full price. Do not sleep on this game. This game is gonna be one of the best games of the year. But guys, what do you think about the game? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to follow my social media and Twitch. Everything is in the description. And I hope you guys subscribe and give it a like. But I'll catch you guys next time. This was the Really Bad Gaming Show, and I was your host, Chaka. And I hope you guys have a great day and enjoy Resident Evil 8. Have a good one.